But yeah, we'll see after Slot wins a title this year.
It's just completely different stages. Like when I'm going to read you the starting 11 of Klopp's first game.
Go on. Just fucking weasel that one in there.
I think the key question is if Slot wins it this season, is he a better manager than Arteta?
Right. If he wins it this season, he's better than Klopp as well. He's better than Pep. He's better than everyone, bro, at that point. Welcome back to Off the Ball. I'm your host for today. As game week 10 wraps up and we head into another international break, we are doing a Liverpool special to put respect on what these boys claim is currently the best team in England and in Europe.
Ever.
With me today, I have a panel of Liverpool experts. Firstly, our guest Kez. He's with us today.
Thank you, boys.
Lifelong Liverpool fan. Veki, as always, an encyclopedia of red knowledge. And finally, Berkz. In his younger days, he would watch every game.
Absolutely.
However, these days, the Anfield atmosphere just cannot wake him up. Now, boys, let's get straight into this.
What an intro, bro.
A quarter of the season is done. All right, we're 10 games into a 38-game season. That's a quarter of it done. Liverpool are total favourites. There's no other way to put it. What are your expectations from this point onwards?
I just want to talk about next year because I feel like this season's already wrapped.
Sorry, wrapped up, yeah.
This season's see what I mean? This season's wrapped.
This is done.
And now that Real Madrid is shit, the Champions
we might have a
League
chance of beating them.
That's
for the
also
first time
right.
in
PSG is
84
not looking good
years.
either. Bayern Munich, whatever. Bro, it's our season. Quadruples on.
I'm wondering if we can win the A-League too somehow.
Oh, well. All right, this is going to be an interesting episode, I think. Now, talk to me, boys, seriously. Because I've done a bit of research. I've had a look at a couple of things, and everyone's familiar with Opta. Their supercomputer has you guys at a 58% chance to win the league from this point onwards.
Fuck.
58%. That is massive. I mean, obviously, it's...
Who's second?
City second with 38, Arsenal with 3.5%, and then my favourite...
Arsenal 3.5.
My favourite, Chelsea, 0.02.
But they're in there. They're in the battle.
They're in there.
So they're tipped to finish fourth then?
Yeah, Chelsea's tipped to finish fourth at this point, yeah. So,
58.
no, boys, tell me, come on, give me your views. What do you make so far of the 10 weeks? What do you expect for the remainder?
I honestly, like before Slot was even appointed, I was looking into videos. I was trying to find out as much information as I could about him, the way, his teams play, the way he sets up, all the different formations that he plays. Even reading like some of the comments from Feyenoord fans, their feedback on Slot on what his strong suits are, what his tactical astuteness is like, and I know that definitely he loved to play from the back, everything on the deck, very composed. And I looked at our current Liverpool side and I'm like, there's definitely going to be a period where we're going to struggle to, adapt. I know in preseason, like when he took over, there were some shaky moments there as well, trying to play out from the back, players giving balls away and stuff like that. So I definitely expected more games like the Forest game. And there have been moments, like for example, the Brighton game, they could have won that 3-0 in the first half alone. But for some reason, even though we're not playing the best football we've ever played, we're just picking up points left, right and centre and winning games, which for me as a Liverpool fan is encouraging because we're in a position where at the moment, without even playing at the top of our ability, which I think is also fair to say for Arsenal and City. So we have been good. However, there's still lots to work on. And is it a fair question to ask? Yes, it is us being good, but have City and Arsenal simply have not been good enough either, which has allowed us to pull a little bit ahead. Because I don't think we've been, apart from a couple of games, spectacular.
We haven't. And that's the difference. Like last year, Arsenal started pretty well. City started pretty well. This year, they both haven't. Liverpool hasn't started incredibly well, but still picking up points. Just literally looks like Liverpool's playing with confidence, really. Not giving up, like they're literally just going to the last minute, which is great to see. But yeah, as Vex just mentioned, like I don't think we're actually in full flow yet either.
So you expect more. You expect
Definitely.
more from this team and these players.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We've still got some key outs too. Like in the last few weeks, it's been Jota's out. Harvey Elliott, I feel like he comes back in, it brings a bit more creativity as well.
I think it's hard unless you've like for example for me, like I don't get to watch all Arsenal games or I don't get to watch all Chelsea games. Like for the Liverpool fans that have seen every single game this season in the Premier League, the 90-minute games, there's periods where for the first half we don't turn up at all.
Berkz watches all of them.
It's the second half where we pick up the results.
Is that what you're pointing at? I was like,
that's me.
let's
That's
go.
I
What
watch
are you
every
pointing
game.
at?
what are you watching?
No, I was saying that's me. I watch all 90 minutes games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say like if you've watched every single game this season as a Liverpool fan, there's definitely games that have been unconvincing and we've still picked up the points, which for me, again, is good, but I can see there's work to do. If you haven't seen the games, you might look at the table now and go, fuck, they've been playing so well, they're unstoppable. But definitely not the case for me. I just think, again, maybe the level of competition that we're used to from teams like Arsenal and City is simply just not there yet. Which has been obviously the case. But then again, you look at our Champions League performances and there we've been absolutely killing it.
Scored 12,
yeah.
conceded 1, I think.
But I think it's beyond, like, you don't just look at, City and Arsenal aren't firing like they used to. Like, this is, for me, this is a situation like when we won the league, everyone's going to call it the COVID Cup, whatever. But by, I think it was January or maybe even March, we were 20 points ahead of City at that point. Like, that was, for them, that was a shit start as well. But I think if you isolate City and Arsenal's performances, we're still doing, at least from a overall position point of view, like we're still playing well enough to be deserving of that position. It's not that we are, we're not firing 100%, maybe 110%, let's say, but it's still, we deserve that spot to be at the top. Like it's regardless of those other teams, how they're performing, I think we still deserve where we are at the moment.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say it's just out of luck or it's, we're pulling it out of our ass, whatever.
There has been a fair bit of luck in the Liverpool wins. Especially a couple of games where, like you said, a team should have been a couple of goals up before you guys even got going. So I do think at the moment you guys definitely have been the best out of the top teams. But I do think a lot of things have gone your way in those cases as well. Especially like Keller has been amazing since Alisson's been out. He's saved you guys a couple of times, where the games could have gone another way. The Villa game, for example, I do think they were penalties.
Which one?
The Watkins one, where he got a free kick given against him. I don't understand how it was a free kick against him with Kanate.
Just, bro, that's such an unnatural... Bro, that is the biggest dive I've ever seen in my life.
That's the one I called in the chat, yeah. What the fuck?
So much so that nobody's even talking about that one. Everyone's talking about the Pau Torres pull by Bradley.
Yeah, on
Nobody's
Salah.
covering Watkins because that was so exaggerated. He looked like an Olympic diver.
The Bradley one, in the box where he had his arms around him. Yeah, that one too.
So that's the contentious one. Apart from that, no one's talking about Watkins because it's so blatant. Like for me, he's the biggest dive.
He didn't get a book for that, did he?
What about the Pau Torres one?
Yeah, on
With
the
Grav.
Salah.
That was
No.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that
That's-
wasn't a pen either.
Definitely not a pen. The only one that was potentially a pen is the Conor Bradley one. because
Connor
the
Bradley
ball
one and
actually gets played into that area.
the winger not getting a yellow card after pulling Salah down.
Yeah, and
Like
Yeah.
we scored from
was
it.
a coot. He fucking waved play on.
Yeah, it's like, dude,
Like,
like
could officiate in that game too.
where's his warning for that?
Was it him or was it someone?
I don't
No,
know.
it wasn't Coot. You guys haven't had Coot.
No, I don't think it was.
No,
Coot.
I'm pretty sure that was Coots' last game.
was his
Oh,
last
he
one.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was.
yeah.
He was. We'll get on to Coot in a moment. Just
Leon
so
Bailey.
just so everyone catches up, currently Liverpool are first in the Prem, 28 points. Man City are on 23, and then Chelsea, Arsenal, Forest, and Brighton are all on 19. So you guys have a big buffer sort of going into this with everyone. 5 points on City. What's that? 9 points on Arsenal. 9 points on Chelsea as well. Chelsea, what a joke.
By the way, that was David Coote's last game, actually.
Yeah, it was.
It really was him.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, you guys really are in the driving seat here. So if things don't go your way from this point onwards, are we looking at a potential bottle?
I think it's way too early.
Nah, yeah.
I think going back to the two biggest improvements that I've seen this season, where we're at, why we're here at the top of the table is under Klopp's tenure in the last sort of few months before he was obviously departing, we had a pattern of conceding very early and we looked very, very open. So slots come in, obviously address that. We're not doing that anymore. Plus, team, we're not as open as we used to be. We're not sort of bombing forward and then having to do all these sort of recovery runs. The form of Konate in there. Trent's sort of a little bit more focused on defending now. and it doesn't have to cover, as I said, as much distance. So that side, Trent and Konate, has become a lot more solid as well, because teams in the past used to look at Robertson and Van Dijk and go, not going anywhere near that. Now, they look at Trent and Konate and they go, well, shit, we can't get through there either. So how do we
I think that's more Konate than Trent.
It is, but Trent's, again, not
Trent's
getting
been
caught
better
as
too.
much, and Konate's not having to cover as much of that gap. So it is contributing as well, him being more disciplined of choosing when to make that run and when not to.
I mean, this is a good segue then. So now you've seen, 10 weeks of slot footy. In sort of retrospect, looking back at Klopp, do you think Klopp's style really was the way to go? Like, do you think it was as good as it could have been for Liverpool? Now that you've seen a different style of footy, like you've seen different footy play with these same players, producing arguably at this point more consistent results, more consistent playing style. What do you sort of make of, the years before, disregarding trophies and whatnot? If you just look at play style to play style, comparing the two managers.
I reckon, give it like at the time with Klopp coming in, because obviously we were coming off a bit of a downturn. I mean, we almost won the league with Rodgers, but still, it was time for that revolution. I think at the time that was the playing style that we needed to make that our style of play. And given we've had such a consistent squad too since Klopp's departure, obviously it's been majority of that squad still there.
Well, he rebuilt the squad before he left.
Yeah,
It's still Klopp's team.
Yeah,
it's
entirely
and that's
Klopp's
what I mean.
team.
And I feel like that's made it easier to evolve into what we're doing now. It's made it a bit more of a solid transition to be able to go from balls to the wall, I should say, or heavy metal football, whatever they used to call it, to now being a bit more sort of, downplaying it, being a bit more consistent, being a bit more, holding the ball a bit more bold, build up play. It's made it all easy in that sense. Whereas if we can, I don't want to go back to United because we talk about United every fucking week, but he built that team himself and he could do nothing with it. You know what I mean? There was no cohesion within that side. But yeah, I feel like it's been easier. Again, at the time, for what Klopp did for the club during his time, I think we needed it at that point in time. But I feel like now that we've still got that squad, it's better that we're kind of transitioning to this style of play because it probably works better with them aging as well. I feel like it's a more, it's a better way to go in terms of longevity of the player as well, I'd say.
I just think it's more balanced football with slot. It's not always pretty and it's not always heavy metal. It's not always gun-ho fucking, two fullbacks pressing on. We're literally just leaving our two centre-backs and Allison as a fucking sweeper keeper. It's like he's keeping his back four. If one fullback goes, the other one sort of sits. Grav just sits in front of him and he lets the attacking five just play and do what they need to do with the inclusion of a fullback, sometimes Grav. So I think it's all tactical. Like when Vex was talking about Konate and Trent down that right side, that's all tactical. Tactical tweaks in terms of when Klopp was in charge and he was obviously setting up the team, Trent was our outball and he had to create and he had to whip in balls and he had to give all the through balls and support Salah. And that triangle with Henderson, sometimes Wijnaldum, that was crucial for Liverpool. Whereas now I think we're more balanced and we attack from both sides as well. Yep. Diaz gets more involved. We go through the centre as well with Jota, Nunez, Gakpo, and obviously Salah as well. He's still our guy.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, if you've watched interviews with Klopp, he admits that he's not the brain when it comes to football. If you look at Borussia Dortmund, Željko Buvac, they call him the brain for a reason, because Klopp is all about energizing, charisma, getting you pepped up, motivated, giving you a hug, roaring up the crowd. You can see Slot is the complete opposite of that. He's very calm. He's very calculated. He makes a lot of changes at halftime, which is what I like. Early, if he needs to, like Kwanzaa, for example, against Ipswich, took him right off. Against Leverkusen, he looked at Jonathan Tah and he's gone, this guy loves playing against target man. He's a big physical boy. Let's see how he copes with Luis Diaz running in behind. So he thinks about tactics, you can tell, 24/7. Klopp has admitted that's not his strength. And that's why he had Pep Linders with him to do that for him when he was coach. So in terms of the tactical stuff that Slot's introduced, I'm not surprised. For me, it's a different level of nervousness. So Slot will go 1-0 up and he's just happy sort of holding there and slowly maybe getting to 2-0. And that's kind of making me nervous because I'm like, fuck, it's only 1-0. Whereas Slot is like, he'll score one, then he'll like rush everyone to score the second one ASAP.
Klopp.
Klopp, you meant to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Klopp. And that will make me nervous as well. So it's like two different.
There's no balance.
But with Slot, it never feels like we're in danger. It seems like we're always solid, apart from obviously one or two times where Keller has to come out and pull off an amazing save. Largely during the game, I feel safe because of, again, that tactical astuteness and what he can see in the game and change within the game itself.
So ultimately, what I'm understanding is you guys are liking this Slot era more than what you're liking
100%.
the Klopp era.
100%. What do you mean?
Probably not more so. It's just different. Like they're both good to see. They're both enjoyable. But yeah, we'll see after Slot wins a title this year.
It's just completely different stages. Like when I'm going to read you the starting 11 of Klopp's first game.
Go on. Just fucking weasel that one in there.
I think the key question is, if Slot wins it this season, is he a better manager than Arteta?
Right, if he wins it this season, he's better than Klopp as well. He's better than Pep. He's better than everyone, bro, at that point. If he comes in first season, wins the trophy.
Can you imagine?
I mean, Klopp got one in 9 years?
9 years.
You got one in 9 years. He literally matches your best ever manager in one season.
Would you call Klopp our best ever manager, though?
I mean,
Trophy-wise, no, but what he did for the club at the time that he did it, how he revolutionised everything.
without referring to the old days, no.
Are you going to talk about what? Kenny Dalglish or something?
Paisley.
Paisley, yeah.
Oh, boys, you're going back to the 70s.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but that's what I mean. Like in the history
they
of
were
the
our most
managers.
successful. Like I think one of them won 3 Champions Leagues.
Paisley won, 3 Champions Leagues. He had 14 trophies total. Like, that's the most.
He won
I think the
leagues,
most
Champions Leagues.
Most of any manager we've had.
Yeah, all right. Well, the Slot era has definitely begun. I think that's what we're looking at.
I mean,
read us the starting 11s. I'm curious. What was Klopp's first starting 11?
So I'll tell you the starting 11, then I want to pose a question to you. So Mignolet in goals, Moreno at left back, Sacco at centre back with Skirtle, Klein at right back.
Dark times, bro.
He went to Crystal Palace.
Dark days, bro.
I used to love Moreno, honestly.
Big tall guy.
Yeah.
Lucas, Emre Can and Lallana as your centre mids, Coutinho left wing, Milner right wing, and Origi as striker.
On the right wing, wow.
So yeah, that's the starting XI in Klopp's first game.
I mean, a couple of decent players there.
Coutinho in there, yeah. Milner at the time,
Yeah,
yeah.
Emre Can
Lallana's
not bad.
decent, yeah.
Well,
So,
Moreno, one of the
Lallana
best
was a
all time.
record signing for you guys.
Was he?
Yeah, he was a record signing.
At the time, I
Yeah,
think.
he got it.
At
20 million or something. I think.
25. I remember.
But it's hard to like think about days before the Neymar transfer when everything just like inflated.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
naturally.
That's
You know what I mean? You're talking about like 2013, 14, something.
yeah. Like it's 20
So
million.
what's this question you got for
So
me?
the question for you is, how do you see it as a rival fan? How do you see the difference between? Have you noticed? What's the biggest thing that you've noticed as a rival fan? Because like I will now, like, again, not to talk about United too much, but I'm so keen to see what Amorim does in these early like 3-4 games under his tenure, because you should be seeing some level of change immediately, I think.
I'll tell you right now, as an Arsenal fan, and I'm just basing this off the last 2 seasons when we've actually been competitive with Liverpool. I was more intimidated by a Klopp team than I am a Slot team.
Yeah, because Klopp comes out and he fucking goes for the
to
jugular.
rail you.
Yeah, like the run-ins we had with Klopp, especially at Anfield, those games had me more nervous than the Arsenal-Liverpool one did this year. If I still stand firmly by, if we didn't lose our entire backline this game, you guys wouldn't have won. Like, you guys wouldn't even gotten a point against us.
But would it be fair to say that's because we probably at the time had the best front three in the world?
Yeah.
No. It's the only time that
Like, is that what made that team scary?
No, the only thing that made that team scary for an Arsenal fan was Salah against Zinchenko. Right. Outside of that, I had no issue with Ben White against Diaz or Mane or whoever it was at the time. But just in the last 2 years of Klopp's tenure, as I said, when Arsenal were competitive against them, I found those games a lot more nerve-wracking, a lot more exciting, a lot more like it felt bigger to beat Liverpool when Klopp was there than it does right now with Slot. I think it's the personality of Klopp.
It's the personality,
more.
what he's like on
Yeah.
the touchline. He fucking
Yeah.
gets the
Larger
crowd
than life,
going.
yeah.
Slot's just composed, bro. Like, he
Yeah.
doesn't.
So to me, you guys have taken step back's not the right word, but I don't look at you with the same fear. Like I feel like you guys don't have that same awe or that same fear that you did with Klopp. But that might come. Like it might come in.
Is it a lack of longevity?
Yeah, it might come in a different way. You know, it might not come with the gegenpress, the heavy metal, the full throttle, like you said, going for the jugular. That might come in a different way where it's a tactical battle. You know, but that's just my view on it. You know,
Yeah, I just don't think we're like this is nowhere near the team that he wants in terms of playing style.
Yeah.
I know, like, and you can see it like in those Villa goals from the corners. Like, we're on their jugular straight away. Like it's their corner, but we're posing the danger.
Yeah.
That's all Klopp identity. There's no slot identity there at all. And again, if you watch some of the old, and I watched some old Feyenoord Europa League games, you can see what it's about. Like it's all one-touch triangles, progressing. Like it's awesome to watch. And it reminds me, if you guys remember Swansea under Brendan Rodgers when they first got promoted, and everyone was calling them Swansea Loner. Like they looked amazing, play style wise. That's what he wants. Or a peak Brighton.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many of the players actually survive the transition from a Klopp team to a slot team, though. It'll be very interesting to see.
That's one thing I haven't seen from him yet. That ruthless streak, where, for example, he looks at Darwin Núñez this season, and let's say hypothetically it's an underperforming season once again. What he does with him. Does he have that ruthless streak to go, no, mate, you're getting sold, we're getting someone better now?
That might not just be
him
on him, because you're
yeah.
talking about your record signing, I think, or equal record with Van Dijk or something like that. Like that's not an easy call to make when he's got a couple of years left on his contract. Like it might be something where he sort of has to live with having Darwin Núñez there.
Especially with Edward back too. I feel like he'd be the type of person that would avoid. Like
I'm
trying to sell.
I'm keen to see, like, if this run continues and we hit January and we need someone because of an injury, or we just need it for a full-on proper title push, I'm keen to see what the club does as well. Because traditionally we haven't really backed our managers when it comes to signings properly.
Like you're on your own a bit for a while, yeah. See how you go.
Be interesting to see. I guess the last question I have sort of on this topic is: do you think this form is continuable? Do you think you'll be able to keep going like this till the end of the season?
That's down to injuries. I feel like we said that in most episodes. If we have
if you don't get any injuries, you think this form is?
I feel like if we don't have multiple injuries, like all right, 1 or 2 here and there, but if we've got like 3 or 4 of our key players out, then we don't have the power to. I feel like slot that in one.
Who do you guys see as key? Say, give me 3 key players. If they were injured, you'd say this falls apart.
I feel like
Van
Konate,
Dijk,
any of our centre backs.
Verge, Grav, Salah.
Yeah, Grav.
I was literally going to say the same.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because Grav is the only player, bar Verge, that starts and plays 90 minutes pretty much every game.
Mm-hmm.
He rarely rotates him, doesn't rotate Verge. He's giving Konate a bit of a rest. But, and Salah as well, because like Chiesa's been out as well. So those 3 have been pretty key for us this year.
The only one I would say is I can see another player playing there potentially. Because for me, Salah, especially with Chiesa out and his numbers at the moment and the form he's in, there's no player in the team or on the bench that can replace him at all. So if he gets injured, we're screwed there.
Yeah.
Van Dijk, there's no one in that team who carries that presence and aura and has the effect on that unit as a whole, like Van Dijk does. We've seen it with Kelleher. He's good enough to replace that. Like, we're not even talking about Alisson. So there's no one like that for Van Dijk's position. For Grav's position, it's fair to say that in the bigger games, he's been a little bit quiet, maybe because the teams have given him a bit closer attention. They know what he can do, so now he's getting a bit more attention. I think maybe if he was out, God forbid, that maybe Jones could fill that potentially. Just more so in play style. He's not as physical and he's not as athletic, but I think from on the ball point of view, I think Jones could cover that.
Or Maka.
Yeah, but for the other 2 posies, I don't think there's anyone that can cover those. So those are the critical ones for me.
Okay. All right. Fair enough then. I'm actually surprised that you guys are so. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Huh?
Optimistic?
Confident.
Yeah, but this league's done, bro.
Yeah. Confident.
I told you that fucking 5 times.
You're not getting me again. You're not getting me twice on one show. All right. Well, speaking of Mo Salah, he has been incredible. First player into 10 goals, 10 assists, or something like that.
It's a normal season for the bloke.
Yeah, literally at this.
Underrated, man.
It is a normal season. Has everyone done their list of top 10 EPL wingers?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah?
Yep.
Alrighty. Kez, guess first. Please start with your number 10 and finish with your number 1.
Oh fuck! I haven't numbered mine, by the way. I've just got 10.
Yeah, that's
there.
all right.
I haven't ranked them though, but
We'll rank them while Kez does his.
fucking hell. All right.
So I've got Son at number 10.
Sonny.
Sonny. I know you don't agree because he's a Tottenham player, but
He plays Schrock half the time.
I think in a subpar Tottenham team he's been there for how many years? Played over 300 games for him.
It's long serving now, isn't it?
Actually, here it is. 311 games, 123 goals and 65 assists in a subpar Tottenham team, but he's always a threat. I've always just liked him. So he slots in at 10. I got Riyad Mahrez at 9. 284 games, 82 goals, 61 assists. I got Pires at 8.
Okay.
Thought it'd been a bit higher.
Gareth Bale at 7.
Looking at my list.
Gareth Bale at 7.
Gareth Bale.
Yeah, just because of...
I mean, his best times were at Real Madrid.
Yeah, but I think what he did for Tottenham in that time that he was there, I think he was very hard to play against and stop.
So
What did he do exactly?
Well, 163 games, 53 goals, 22 assists.
Pretty average.
So it's like a goal assist every 2 games.
sounds like me.
No, I'm just saying.
It's not bad. I mean,
You've got 2 Tottenham players in there.
yeah, which is why
Ludicrous.
Don't forget David Ginola.
That's ludicrous.
you.
Wait, hold on. No, bro, we need to talk about this. You're telling me that 2 Tottenham players make the all-time top 10 Premier League wingers list.
This is just what came to my head.
All right, fair enough.
I mean,
Sacrilege.
because I wasn't using recency bias either. Like I was just thinking about players that have come into the Prem and either for one season or more have just lit up the league and been unplayable almost.
Surely you got Harvey Barnes in there then.
Yeah, I was thinking about putting him in, but I didn't.
Leicester
John
won the
Barnes.
league.
Yeah.
John Barnes.
Then at 6, I've got Sadio Mane.
Ooh, money.
Just because of what he brought, what he did.
Such a dirty player.
Number 4,
I've got better at throwing an elbow in a tackle in a header challenge.
At number 5, I've got David Beckham.
Cross merchant.
At number 4, I've got Eden Hazard. At number 3, I've got Ryan Giggs. Just because of what he did over such a long period of time.
600 games.
All-time assists.
Yeah.
162 assists. Fucking hard
Bashed
to
his
beat.
wife.
Don't think anyone will
Bashed
come
his
close to
wife.
it.
Slept with
Bashed
his
his wife.
Is he the one that slept with his brother's wife
Actually,
as well?
sorry, no, he didn't assault his wife. He
no,
slept with
he
his
slept with his brother's wife.
The dog.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
Isn't that John Terry as well? With Wayne Bridge.
Teammate, yeah.
Teammate's wife, yeah.
Oh.
They're all a bunch of dogs.
Yeah.
So,
At number 2, I've gone with Ronaldo.
CR7 or R9? Had to get you back. Had to get you back, Kez.
Oh, shit. That was good. And then at number 1, I've actually put Mo Salah in there.
Oh, well. So you're saying right now, regardless of whatever happens in the rest of his career, he's the greatest ever winger.
Winger, yeah.
Winger.
Not the best player in the league ever, but winger. I think it's hard to beat what he's done over 8 or 9 seasons, what he's actually done.
Yeah, very interesting. It looks like Berkz is still trying to organise his list.
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hit us with.
Did you just write down
Sorry,
my
I've-
list? Or?
No.
If more than 8 players are the same, Berkz.
I've got Mo Salah 10 times. That's it. That's my list. I went the opposite of Kez. I did recency bias. I've gone like the last 10 to 15 years, let's say.
I thought you were going to say games.
I've got my criteria are what they did for the team themselves, the honours they've won, and well, I mean that's probably the 2 criteria actually.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the 2, and some of them are numbers as well. At number 10, I've got this is going to be an out of the box one, but again, in the context of what I've been trying to do and recency bias as well, I've got Wilfried Zaha. He was good for Palace.
He was good for Palace.
He did things for that team. That's why I've got him in there. And again,
I feel like St.
recency
Maximum is
bias.
going to be on this fucking list.
Who?
St. Maximum.
No, I do like him. Though.
I feel like he's going to be on
No,
this
he's
list.
not on this list.
Oh.
So he's not number 1, is he?
10.
Oh.
Number 10. Why would I put Wilfried Zaha number 1? I'm not that bad.
Why would
bro,
you
come on.
put Wilfried Zaha in any list?
I
Best
said it in
winger?
context.
I know we're
In the
talking
context
about
of his own team.
all-time
No,
greatest.
but I've looked at lists and stuff.
Bro, he wasn't
and I
even the
was
best
like,
winger
oh,
at Palace.
I didn't want to have listed already on the internet too. Like,
Yeah, okay. All right, so we got Zaha.
I got Zaha at 10.
This sounds like the perfect Instagram deal. Zaha.
I'll give you my
And
criteria.
Brumo's
that's
in
why.
there, I'm telling you.
If I wanted to, you have to get outside of the top 10 or top 16 as
You-
well.
you can do whatever
That's
you
my
want.
thought process as well.
You can do whatever.
Number
you want.
9, I've got Alexis Sanchez, not at United. Obviously, more
Jeez,
for.
at 9.
Bro, if
Yeah.
Adama Traore is in this,
At
I'm walking out.
9.
No, he's not.
At 9.
Yeah. What?
Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah.
Oh.
What, you reckon he's high or
All
low?
time, bro.
Oh.
High or low? I've said recency bias though.
Yeah, all right.
I've said
okay.
recency. Recency.
It's literally
Um,
unplayable.
What, you reckon he's higher?
Way higher.
I feel like there's better than him out there. You'll
Yeah,
see in the
okay,
list.
all right.
8, and
You'll
this
see
is
him on this list, bro. Just listen up. Give him a chance if I can say it.
Yeah, all right.
number 8. I've got Ronaldo only because his best years are at Madrid.
Yeah,
but
so
he still did
he
quite a
won
bit at United.
Ballon d'Or.
So
Yeah, during
Wilfred
those times. That's why
Zaha
I
is
did
only
it.
2 spots off Ronaldo.
Yes, based on recency alone. That's the only reason. I wanted to have some difference in there, bro.
Interesting
I wanted to have
logic.
difference in there.
That's a fair call,
You know?
bro.
That's you know what?
Kes
Yeah.
gets it. Kes
Yeah,
gets it.
hey, has he ever done it? Has he ever done it in Turkey? Has Ronaldo ever done it in Turkey?
That's what I'm saying.
That's-
What has he
that's
done
the
for
real
goals today, bro? What was that up
Holy
to?
fuck.
8. Number 7. Actually, this is probably too low. No, that's not my actual number 7. Number 7, I've got Son.
No, read
Son
the name
Heung-min.
of
No,
the
no,
list.
this is mixed up. I read it.
Okay.
And then I tried to rewrite it.
All right.
I got Heung-min Son Min Hun, however you say it. I don't know the syntax. But Song Heung-min. I know he hasn't won anything there, but he's obviously done a lot for that team.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, I've got you're gonna say this is way too low, but I've got Eden Hazard at 6.
That's not low. That's fine. It's high, if anything.
For you, yeah.
It's way too high.
For number 5, I've got Phil Foden. I know he's young still, but
He's not a
done.
winger. He's a 10.
He's played out the front, bro. He's not.
Bro,
he
he's
plays
like a
everywhere.
midfielder, bro.
He's not just purely midfielder.
He's a 10.
He's rotated around.
Hold on. We need to put this
No
to
one-
a vote.
No one knows
No,
what position he
we
plays,
need
bro.
to
That's
put
how I
this to a
see it.
vote.
Bro, when you just purely
cunt
look at his
rocks up
playing
at-
style, you don't see a winger.
Hey, if Foden is not a winger, put your hand up, all right? In 3, 2, 1.
That's a bit too
Back
close.
you, bro.
Sorry.
That's
my
that.
God.
All right, so
That's in.
Foden's staying.
Yeah.
In number what? 7? No.
1.
5. I had. Number 4, I've got another City player, and obviously what he did with Leicester as well, Riyad Mahrez.
Mahrez was a gun, man.
Now he's in Saudi
I love
Arabia.
this first touch, bro.
Oh, unreal, bro.
Number 3, I've got Raheem Sterling.
Raheem the Dream.
Raheem the Dream.
Fuck.
For his time at City, what he did at City, it's undeniable. You can't, even though he left us, the
Jesus.
dog. Number 2, I've got Sadio Mane. I think that's fair. I'm going to say it. I don't
Well,
care.
why's that fair?
I think that's fair, bro. He was part of one of the most deadly front three for how many years? Consistently.
Fastest Hattie in the Prem.
He's
Don't forget.
he's won a Champions League, he's won a
Yeah,
Premier
okay.
League. Oh,
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
he's important to our team. He's one of our first big signings under the Klopp
Some
era.
heavy bias here.
And then number
Yeah.
1, obviously, I've got Mohamed Salah. I'm not going to say anything
Okay.
else. There's-
Some heavy bias there.
absolutely.
Veki.
Alrighty. My list is quite boring and logical.
At which point have you got Zaha in there? Just tell
I
me.
haven't got Zaha, I haven't got Harvey Barnes, Alan St. Maximin, Traore. None of them are in there, unfortunately.
He's Mbuemo in your top
I
3.
am
Mbuemo.
going to stick to just the players that I've seen live. I'm not going to pull out John Barnes or anything like that because I haven't seen those guys play. David Ginola, I know all of those guys are sort of in there. Number 1, Ronaldo.
You got
think
one to 10.
obviously you guys have put Salah, but Salah's
Can
never.
you please do this the same as everyone else and do 10 to 1?
Well, he's already spoiled.
Yeah,
Might as well
number
get
1.
that. Oh, I think that's your 10th.
All right, I'm going to start from 10 then.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
start
what I
at
was
10.
I'm going to go with
Please.
Sadio Mane
In
at
10.
number 10.
Oof.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm not going to go on about it too much. Some of the boys have covered already. Number 9, because I don't think he's had too many seasons where he's been unreal. So for me, it's a consistency thing. Number 9 is Hazard. On his day, unplayable, but he's only had 2 good seasons, max.
He's had about 3 good days as well.
Yeah. Number, so 10,
He's had
9,
more
8,
kids and he's had good.
8, I'm going to go for Mahrez.
Can't wait for Ur to hear this.
Number 7, I'm going to go for David Beckham.
David Beckham in a 7.
Number 6, Gareth Bale. Number 5, I'm going to go for Robert Pires.
Sorry, Vex, I don't mean to cut you off. Why don't you say anything to him, bro?
Because it's only his first Spurs player.
I had him at number 8 and you fucking tried to bash me, bro.
but you had Son and Bale
yeah.
in your top 10.
Okay, fair enough.
What was that? Where was Bale? 6?
Bale was 1, 2, 3.
3.
Yes, number 6.
Just under Zaha.
Ryan Giggs at number 5. then I'm what the hell? Wait,
Becky can't count. Just give us
I've got 9. I haven't got 10.
Okay, give us your top 9.
Add someone in there.
No, you got to
So
put
my
Salah
top 4, my 4th player is Ryan Giggs.
Mm-hmm.
No, my 4th player is Robert Perez. Sorry, my 3rd player is Ryan Giggs, based on just Premier League all-time assist record, unreal. My number 2 is Salah. My number 1 is Ronaldo, because I think Ronaldo and Messi are in their own bracket, and I think Salah's. I wouldn't say he's not close, but I wouldn't say he's close either.
Would you say Salah is closer to Ronaldo or closer to Messi?
I think he's closer to Ronaldo because Messi's just the phenom.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that Messi's the best player of all
But like, I don't think
I hate Messi though. I'll tell you now.
like when you talk about Messi and Ronaldo, I don't think Salah's ever mentioned in there, and I think to a degree rightfully so, because they're just the 2 best players in the world, like ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So do you want him mentioned in those conversations?
I would like it.
I mean, it's up for debate.
It's up for debate.
I think he's a set 3rd for me.
of all time,
of all time.
just players in general.
No, but like based on stats and consistency and numbers and like who
So,
else would you
hold
put
on,
in?
you're-
Neymar.
I mean, no, he makes a good argument. Though.
I mean,
like,
look,
I'm not taking the piss.
Hey,
I'm not taking
don't
the
forget.
I'm not taking the piss. And no
From the
bias
ones
either.
that I've seen, I haven't seen Maradona play.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say Maradona because
naturally.
Maradona's clearly ahead of Salah. You know what I mean?
So you're saying it goes from the players you've seen with
Yeah.
your own eyes and watched. You're saying it goes
Messi, Ronaldo.
Messi, Ronaldo,
Salah.
Salah. Okay.
I don't think
And
it's
then you
okay.
can have
Messi
your
It's
name
not
three,
an assessment, bro.
Ronaldo 2, and Salah 1.
Yeah, well that.
Ronaldo 2. I keep getting sent. All right, my list. I have done this. I've seen every player on my list play in the Premier League. I've watched them with my own eyes. Some of this is a little bit of history bias, and some of this is just, whatever. But I've got Mane in at 10. I had Sterling in at 9, just because Sterling done it brilliantly for City, but a very short
Burst.
like it was a short burst. I had Mahrez in at 8, Perez in at 7. I loved Robert Perez at Arsenal. He was, what a player. Giggs at 6, Beckham at 5. I had Alexis Sanchez at 4.
Can I interrupt for a second? So obviously, like Perez was brilliant. Who was it Ljungberg, your other winger?
Ljungberg.
How come he doesn't? What do you think he doesn't get mentioned as much? Because he was part of the Invincibles.
Yeah,
Ultimately.
he was part of the Invincibles.
Because he seems like a very not even remotely mentioned type thing.
For some reason, the same sort of players from the Invincibles always get mentioned, which is your Henry, your Bergkamp, your Perez, Vieira, and Campbell.
Yeah.
They're sort of the 5 key players that always get brought up in any sort of conversation and when it comes to the Invincibles. But, I mean, that team had a lot of players in it. Some don't get the recognition and the credit that they probably deserve. But, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's a bias thing. Maybe because Perez was French and Ljungberg was Swedish, I think. Could be that. Don't know.
Yeah. Fair.
Don't know. But yeah, so Sanchez in at 4. I had Hazard at 3, Ronaldo, and then Mo Salah at 1.
Surprised you didn't have Andre Ashwin in there with his 4 goals.
I know. I should have put him at 4. But I genuinely think Sanchez doesn't get the respect he deserves for what he done in an Arsenal shirt.
Yeah.
Sanchez was ridiculous.
What are you verifying?
How many
Surprised they put
seasons
Salah
was he
one.
was he with Arsenal for in that form?
We got him 14, 15 we got him.
Because I know with
And
Ozil
then
they tore it up.
Yeah, and then he left 18,
No, earlier than that, I think.
17, 18 he would have left, I think.
Become a pianist.
Yeah, to have one cameo on a piano, earn 500 bags a week,
And then do fuck all.
and then leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Career change.
Yeah, really interesting. I mean, I'm disappointed in Newcastle. 2
Why?
Spurs players. Fucking ridiculous. I mean, just moving on slightly from sort of the Liverpool stuff a little bit. I just wanted to talk about Man City and Arsenal a little bit, not too much. I mean, most importantly is City's current injury list. We're talking Oscar Bob, Rodri, Grealish, Diaz and Stones.
Oscar Bob, what a name, bro.
You know, four real key players there for them. And I mean, they've lost 4 games for the first time. I mean, Pep's lost 4 games for the first time ever, I
That
think.
was his career, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, first time ever in his career. And then I think the last time City lost this many games was back in 2006.
Fuck.
So what do you guys sort of make of what they've done?
I can go. I think they've hit, obviously, a bit of a bump. I think Rodri being out is huge. I think Haaland now, he's scored, but I think he goes a bit too missing for large parts of the game. De Bruyne being out as well has affected them big time. I've actually really liked watching that Savinho kid. I think
Off the right or off the left?
Off the right because he's a left footer.
Yeah.
And he cuts in and he does really well. He's been a breath of fresh air. I think like a few weeks ago when I was here and spoke about Foden not really hitting the straps. Like now he's getting more game time and stuff, but he's not playing at the level that he was at last year. So I think it's a number of all of those things. I think Guardiola being your match winner countless weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Is sort of saying something.
But that's the thing, like, because everyone's praising it, and rightfully so, for his like offensive stuff, but he's getting like smashed defensively. If you watch the last few games, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, their whole defensive unit, well, their whole defense as a unit has been a little bit leaky. I mean, I don't think they've got a clean sheet yet in the Premier League. I think they've conceded in every single game, except the 1-0 against Southampton.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I feel like it's like as Kez said, it's a compounding effect. Number one, obviously, teams know that Rodri's out, so they feel like they can have a bit more of a go. De Bruyne is out, and he can cut you open with one pass, so he's out. Haaland tends to drift in and out of games. Their left side, for me, Doku's just nowhere near some of the wingers they used to have, and Grealish obviously is up and down. So that whole side is, for me, ineffective.
Do you think Pep's been worked out?
I don't think he's been worked out because I think they're still dominating large portions of the game and stuff. But I think teams are now having a crack.
Yeah, willing to have a go. Yeah, which was never usually the case.
I don't think any team in the league right now is carrying that fear factor about them.
Because
like Arsenal had it last year, City's had it, Liverpool's had it, but right now I don't think anyone's carrying
It's
that.
up in the air.
Because you watch a City game and by the 28th minute it's like 3-0 and you're switching to another game because it's done.
Yeah.
Like, this is not happening this season because I think that, as Kez said, that fear factor is gone. Things are willing to have a little bit more of a go, and they know. And it's like each successive loss or drop of points, that next team that turns up wants to have even more of a go because they're encouraged by what they're seeing. Plus, like I said, maybe early on in this pod episode, or the past few episodes, like once you win 5 Premier Leagues and a Champions League, and you're coming off a double, like where's your motivation as a player to keep going? Like my motivation would be to maybe try myself in another league or, play somewhere else for a period of time, move my family. Like I would not be hungry after 5 Premier League wins at the same club. Personally, I'd want a fresh challenge. So, is it fair to question that as well? Are the players as hungry as they used to be?
I mean, we normally see Pep rotate his squad pretty heavily once they get a couple of wins. I mean, you saw back in the days, like you said, Sterling, Jesus, Zinchenko, Mahrez, Gundo was moved on. He does generally phase players out. He hasn't been doing that as much in recent times, though. And I feel like their attacking impotence really has gone from the wings. I don't think anyone sees their wingers as a genuine goal threat like they used to.
No.
Like you said, Doku, all right, throw 4 step overs, dribble a player, then try dribble him again. Like whatever.
I mean, the fear I used to have when Sane used to receive the ball and run at our fullback, I was shitting my pants because he could do that. You know what I mean? Mahrez as well.
You see, the back post runs of Sterling. All those players that were coming in, the cutbacks to the edge of the box, all that sort of stuff has fizzled out.
Yeah,
it genuinely has. They don't have. Their main goal focus is now just getting Haaland.
Do you reckon that it is what sort of drawn them back a bit? Like, is it such a focus on getting it through Haaland, playing the game through Haaland, that it's just like everything else has just gone to shit as well? Naturally?
I mean, when you've got the best striker in the world, naturally you want to get the ball to him as much as you can in the best position possible for him. And, you're mentioning KDB being out. De Bruyne's arguably the best player you could have doing that for you. I think where they've sort of lost is they've gone to 4 centre-backs now. They've lost the creativity of a left-back and a right-back that was, a bit more on the ball. You think of Cancelo, Zinchenko, these players were creative players. And then obviously now you've got wingers that aren't as threatening as what they've had in the past. They've lost a lot of creativity, I think, in this search of maybe a bit more physicality.
Because I think it's too simplistic to because people are just boiling it down to Rodri being out. I think problems go well beyond that. It's not just Rodri. Don't get me wrong, it's a huge contributing factor, but it's one player. At no point should a team, by losing one player, it doesn't matter how important, completely implode. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree and disagree to an extent. I think one player can definitely have that much importance to a team.
I'm not saying you can't, but you shouldn't be in that position where you're...
Especially if you're
You know
City,
what I
I
mean?
guess.
Like-
yeah.
No, but again, Rodri plays. This is the same thing we had a chat about last week about the Arsenal players. Like, there's certain players that play every single week, and regardless if you bring a second player in that can play that position, they're not going to get a chance to play that position unless it's like a Carabao Cup game or something like that. Like, Phillips was meant to be the backup for Rodri.
What a guy.
Yeah, like what's the point of bringing in a player of Phillips's level?
Yeah.
If you're City, you know. Like, some players just aren't replaceable. Some players you just can't have a player
So
on the bench.
is it as simple as going, hypothetically looking at the table now, Liverpool has been lucky not to have an injury in a position where
In a
they
key
don't have a
position
backup.
area, yeah.
Because Odegaard obviously got injured for Arsenal. You've got no backup there. And Rodri's been injured for City. You've got no backup there. Is that purely the reason why Liverpool's where they're at the moment? in your
Definitely
opinion?
not purely, but I think it is a big contributing factor.
Okay, yeah.
I also think with City, when I was thinking about it a couple of days ago, but we've spoken about it. I don't know if I ever spoke to you about it, Berkz, but last year when things weren't going right for him going forward, Haaland was quiet. They had Alvarez.
Mm.
They don't have him now.
Yeah.
They don't have anyone that's replaced him. And so, I mean, we spoke about it many times as well. When Alvarez was actually playing in that team, they played more like a Pep team, and
Yeah, definitely. The false nine.
the false nine,
Yeah.
their patterns of play were completely different, and there was no focal point in Haaland. So I think losing him and not replacing him, Pep's now struggling as well because of that. Like
Yeah.
the Rodri injury and all the other injuries as well. But missing that type of player is hurting them, and I hope it hurts them for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, he tried it with...
Mic drop.
he tried it
Way to
with
say that,
Foden. He tried to recreate it with Foden, but Foden's just not that player.
Yeah.
He's not that player. He's not that caliber of player.
Like, because obviously, like, I think in a way he's got this weird thing where players hit amazing form one season, aka let's say Phil Foden last season, and how important Jones Stones was for that setup, and then next season, like mysteriously, he doesn't play them at all, and he'll play them he'll start playing them mid-season all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
as a
doing that with
player,
Okay now, I think.
yeah,
He's not playing okay that much.
no,
he's not.
and it's almost like, why do you think there's a bit of something going on with those players where they're like not as hungry to play for him as much? And he's done this with Grealish as well. Like, he's, in a way, sometimes he completely ruins the trajectory of a player's form just by not playing him. No, I don't
But
know.
all those players that you talk about always come back better.
Mm.
Like the season before they won the Champions League, Grealish was barely played. But then the year they won the Champions League, they done the double. Grealish was one of their key players. I'm not saying numbers-wise, obviously. That was all Haaland. But he was one of their key attacking outlets in that season. So, I mean, we've never really seen him do that with a player and then not bringing them back in if they're a key member of the squad. We've seen him phase players out and get rid of them, like Cancelo, for example. But those players that he keeps around and he doesn't move on always come back stronger.
Yeah, but he's just like, again, why would Phil Foden miss the amount of games that he's missed this season, considering the season he's had last season? It just makes no logical sense
He
whatsoever.
had another kid or something.
Like
hasn't he?
zero.
I mean, he played every game at the Euros and he was atrocious, to be fair.
Yeah, but that was England as a whole.
Yeah.
It's unfair to target individual player.
Maybe he just needed a bit more time off, bro. You
For
know,
what though?
Maybe
He's like 24. He's got all the energy
Yeah,
in the world. Like, he
dunno.
doesn't need rest.
Got about 10 kids as well.
Moving on from City, I did want to focus a little bit on Chelsea. Unfortunately, Or's not with us, but we need to talk about Chelsea's rebirth because I think they're exceeding the expectations we all sort of had for them at the start of the season. I think their rebirth has been in line with Palmer's form, Cole Palmer. However, I do want to rename him to Lukewarm Palmer. we are literally watching the most overhyped player when it comes to the big six teams. I genuinely believe that we've never seen a player get this hyped from such little sample size and then not be able to produce when it really matters against those bigger teams.
So what you're saying is he's a big fish in a small pond.
I'm saying his stat pads against smaller teams, but I'm saying when he comes up against a team that is structurally sound, that can combat their strengths, I think he's.
But I feel like you could argue that for most players that are meant to be like hype players. You know, like
No.
Haaland doesn't really deliver that much when it comes to. Like, how many scored against? I don't even think he scored against us before, or one, maybe one.
I think he scored one
Goal.
like five or six games.
You know, it's not a lot of like. Even Harry Kane though has actually done well. I'll give him that one. But like, I don't know. I feel like it's the hype is not just because you're scoring against the lower sides. You're not scoring against the bigger six teams. I don't think it's a indictment of his ability or whether the hype is real or not. I think he's still a gun. He's still doing it, and he's young too. Like this is his first big season. Like he's like the centerpiece of that team now. You know what I mean?
He's playing as I'd expect a bench player from City to play in a small team.
Fuck! I wish I could see Will's face.
I'm not even joking. Like he is a bench player for City. Like let's be real. Pep didn't care that they sold him. And now he's come into a team like Chelsea where they spent a lot of money and now the team's literally structured around Palmer succeeding. Mm-hmm. He's doing as I'd expect. But a lot of Chelsea fans are now saying, why doesn't Palmer get taken off? Why doesn't Felix come on? You know?
Forget they had Felix.
These are the questions that Chelsea fans are asking about Palmer because
absolute nuffies.
He doesn't show up in big games. He doesn't show up against the six. He got pocketed by Jones with you guys. He did nothing against Arsenal this last game. All this hype around him, it's built up, Palmer, Foden, Saka. And what's the story with Palmer? That's all I'm saying.
I reckon just give him time, man.
I think he's got a lot of potential. I think he's a great player. I can't put him in like that upper echelon of players yet. Will we get there one day? Will we get there one day? I don't know.
They talk about him being the best player in the Premier League.
As Ur says, he's a generational talent.
Yeah,
generational talent.
The best player in the Premier League.
So hypothetically speaking, if he gets 30 goals and assists this season, and they're all exclusively against teams below the sixth, are you saying he has to do something against big teams to be considered one of the Premier League's best players?
Well, I mean,
or one of the best young players?
Doesn't that when all the big players do it?
I think Salah had that criticism as well after his first or second season. But you look at his numbers now and he's fucking
ludicrous.
Because that's a good thing and a bad thing about stats. Because I do agree, he's a stat pad against your Wolves and your Southamptons. You'll get like 3 a game or 4 a game. But then against the big teams, it doesn't show up. But then you look at the end of season stats and you go, Palmer's got 25 goals and 11 assists.
Yeah, 12 of them were penalties last year.
I was waiting for you to mention
I mean, and all those penalties came against the big six opposition. Like he had a pen against us. That was his only goal against us. It just seems to me like, he'll do 4 goals in one game. Brilliant. Like not many players can, career-wise, their entire career can say they've scored four goals in a game. He got 3 assists in one game as well. That's 7 of his current 10 goal contributions,
2 games.
Yeah, that's what I mean. 2 out of 10 games he's gotten 7 contributions, which is, incredible. But it also means that when he comes up against a team that is a little bit more structured, maybe he just can't do it anymore.
I mean, is it fair to say that for the position that he's playing, who else is absolutely tearing it up? Because I feel like most of the players that are currently tearing it up in the league are either strikers, aka Haaland, or your wingers, Saka and Salah. Mm-hmm. We don't see your attacking mids really smashing in the Premier League this season. When you really think about
that's
it.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? So should the expectation on him be that? Yeah, should it be sort of...
But this is the expectation that's been put on him. Whether he's deserved it or not is a different topic.
Because I think, stats is one thing, but when you just see him play, some of the touches he takes, some of the turns, he's clearly a very, very good and talented player.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the big games, so far, I do agree he doesn't show up. But then could the same criticism be levelled at Gravenberch as well? Because at the moment, everyone's talking about how good Gravenberch has been this season, but in the bigger games so far, or let's say the last 3, he's been there, but he hasn't really done anything to go, wow, he's doing well even against the bigger teams.
I think his position isn't that, though.
Yeah.
I think comparing them two are a bit different.
I know, but you still expect to see him from time to time break through the line and go on a striding run, you know what I mean? Which is what he doesn't do it all the time. But against the smaller teams, he has a tendency to.
Probably instructed not to.
Yeah.
Against the bigger teams, he's probably instructed to sit in front of the back 3 or 4.
But what I've noticed as well, as I said, he's getting more close attention now. So someone's being put on him and they're staying on him.
Speaking of Chelsea, what do you think of the performance
against
against
us.
Arsenal? Because I watched the before
Yeah.
you go, I watched the mini match and it seemed like a pretty even game. It looked like early doors Chelsea actually had more of the ball. Looked like they were playing a bit better, and then, but you guys did have chances. And when you look at the stats, it does seem very balanced. But I didn't watch the full 90, so I wanted to get your take on that.
Stats-wise, the game was balanced. I'd say momentum-wise, Chelsea had the first 15 minutes, and then Arsenal probably had the rest of that half. Second half, again, they came out strong. And then we took over again, and then after we scored, they again took a bit of momentum. Their goal was the main reason why I say Rice should be our 6. If you watch the goal, it's crazy.
He had so much space. Bro, when he
Neto
picked
picks it up, and
That's
there's no Arsenal player within like 10 metres of him. It's crazy. But if Rice was the 6 instead of Partey, I know Rice would have been there because he does occupy that space quite well. I mean, there's not much to really say about it. For us, it was a pretty lackluster performance. It was incredible to see Odegaard play 90 minutes after being out for 2 months, and I think he was probably the best player on the pitch. Might be a little bit biased, but you can see that he was protecting himself a bit, but even the stuff he did do was, incredible to see. Not really too much to talk about with the game, bro, to be honest. I think you summed it up. It was pretty balanced.
I saw Odegaard put in a nice ball, I think. Was it Martinelli's goal?
Yeah, Martinelli's goal. Chelsea probably played to the best they can against a big team, whereas we sort of look like we were in second gear.
What are your thoughts on Rice this season? Because after the game, obviously looking at I actually watch a lot of post Arsenal, whether it's interviews or fan TV or whatever. There's a lot of questions around Rice and his ability offensively on the ball. Do you feel like that's a valid point? Because again, looking at his time at West Ham and maybe some games at Arsenal that I've seen, there's a lot more driving with the ball. Do you feel like he's been instructed not to do that as much, which is why he's not that effective going? Because I certainly expected him to, now that Partey's in that 6, to have a lot more freedom to express himself on the ball, which I haven't seen.
Yeah, I think our midfield 3 will be Rice, Merino, and Odegaard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that'll be our best, most balanced 3. I feel like when we play with either Georgie or Partey next to Rice, Rice does a lot more defensive work, but he's also having to contribute going forward as the left 8.
Yeah,
I don't want to see him play the left 8. I want to see him play the 6. I want him to be our sole 6 with Merino as the left 8 and Odegaard as the 10.
See, I feel like that's very harsh because Thomas Partey for me this season has been amazing.
Yeah, but
so how do you then put Rice, who in my opinion is in less of a form than Partey?
I look at this since we signed Rice. Partey got injured and Rice came in and was our sole 6, and we were defensively in the best shape that we've ever been. We weren't leaking goals. Everyone was finding it incredibly difficult to score against us. When Rice got moved to the left 8 and Partey came in as the 6, we started leaking goals again, and it became a lot easier to play through us. Plus, he doesn't have the transition speed. He can't cover like Declan Rice can. I want him to be the engine in our midfield. I want him to play the 6. I want him to be there in front of the back 4, protecting him, covering across. I want him. That's just me. I want him as the 6. I'm willing to sacrifice the ball progression passing-wise because we can always drop Odegaard out of the block to progress the ball into the next phase of play.
Yep.
Saliba looks a lot more comfortable on the ball. Gabriel looks a lot more comfortable on the ball. There are players there that can progress the ball. I don't want Partey as our 6.
Yeah, fair enough.
But if he plays, he has to be our 6 because he can't play anywhere else.
Yeah. Right back.
Yep. That's not favourable. I think if we get all of our players back after the international break, and now most of our players have actually pulled out of international duty. I think we've only got 2 or 3 of them actually going.
Taking injuries as per usual.
Yeah. Odegaard pulled out today as well. I love it. I think the only ones we've got going are Timber, Saliba and Raya. I think Havertz went as well, but I think he's being assessed to come back. If we can get all of our players fit post-international break and firing, I think we'll make the Storm for the top of the table. I think we'll be incredibly close by Christmas.
Is it fair to say that this is the first time that Saka's struggled against a fullback in this game?
No, it's definitely not the first time he struggled.
Without being doubled up on this season.
He wasn't as heavily doubled up on. He still was. But, I mean, the way Cucurella has always tried to play against Saka is just foul him. It's like everyone says he gets locked up. Bro, it's just a foul.
The Riad job.
It's just foul. It's just foul after foul after foul after foul. Like that's genuinely all it is.
What do you mean I got the ball?
He gets away with some of them. Some he doesn't. Some he does like in our half for no reason. He just batters into Saka. But every time the ball goes towards Saka, you just see Cucurella sprinting towards Saka like full pace, and then he just clambers into him. So look, he done a good job. Saka had very little productivity. He put in a couple of crosses that we definitely should have scored from, but didn't happen. No big deal. Move on to the next game.
Are you disappointed with your options off the bench when you're trying to change a game, like attacking wise? Because I see like Zinchenko coming on. I see a completely out of form Gabriel Jesus, and I'm like, these guys don't, like as a neutral, I look at that and I go, you don't really have an option off the bench unless it's the young kid. And he's like, what, 17? Like, it's kind of like I'm coming to a point where as a neutral, I'm looking at and questioning your depth. I know you said you're happy, but surely you can't be happy seeing those changes when you need to, pick up 3 points coming on to change the game for you.
I don't think, again, if and when we have the fully fit squad, I don't think the bench will matter too much. I don't think you'll catch us in position. Like when we've got our 11 players that Arteta wants to play in the Premier League, I don't think it'll matter too much who's on the bench.
But I think that's where you've been lucky, which is why you've done well. You haven't had those injuries, and every team has injuries, you know what I mean?
That's what I mean.
That's where he gets questioned your depth.
When our 11's on the field, or at least 9 of the 11, I don't think we have any issues with scoring goals.
So hypothetically speaking, and this obviously won't happen, but if the transfer window opened right now for 2 weeks, you wouldn't dip into it at all?
Oh, no, definitely.
You would,
The only position I'd say now get someone is a left winger. I'm growing less and less patient with Martinelli, but he's the only player that I'm growing less patient with.
And I assume Trossard as well, because sometimes he does play there.
Trossard's had a horrible.
Yeah, I think I cursed him because I actually rate him, and I rated him in Brighton, but of late, because I've watched a few Arsenal games, my God.
Trossard gave the back pass for Saliba's red card. He booted the ball against City to get his own red card. He took the ball off Havertz's foot against Chelsea in the last minute so we don't score. He took the penalty off Havertz against Shakhtar Donetsk and missed the penalty as well. He's had a shocking last 5 weeks or so, whenever the last international break was. Since then, Trossard's just had really bad luck.
That's because
it's been one thing after another.
That was
what Arsenal fans call him the 12th man, because you should just be on the bench.
Yeah, like he's the perfect. Whenever he comes off the bench, he's unreal. I don't want to talk too much about Arsenal though. We spoke heaps about Arsenal last week. Boys, the last thing I just wanted to touch base on before we get into a quiz where we're going to crown the ultimate Liverpool fan. Just give me your general overview of the last 10 weeks. Any overperformers, underperformance, surprise packages? I'm sure Forrest has caught your attention. What do you guys reckon of the first 10 weeks of the 24-25 season?
I'm going to say straight up Forest, obviously. When I saw them at third on the table, I honestly had no idea they were that close.
Yeah, 19 points.
Chris Wood, unreal. R9, W9, they should call him at this point.
CW9.
Yeah, CW9. What a bloke. Would he be the first in New Zealand, do you reckon, to win a Premier League Player of the Month?
Yeah, definitely.
Surely.
Definitely.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
Probably first, maybe, I don't know when they brought it in, but possibly first Oceania player.
That's a good point, yeah. Other than that, I think I'm actually surprised United sacked. We're talking holistically around to this point in the season. I reckon I'm surprised United sacked our good friend Ten Hag so early. I thought he'd at least get at least till like December.
Should have sacked him
to the Christmas break.
Oh, I thought he'd be there till the end of the season.
I wish he was there till the end of my life, bro. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. Yeah, that's probably it for me. Yeah. I think actually, I was saying West Ham being so shit, I'm really surprised by it.
For me, after losing their top goal scorer, I think Bournemouth, because Bournemouth have been excellent. They lost Dominic Solanke. They've posed all the big teams, except Liverpool, I think. They've posed like big problems. And just the way they play, their manager are rating highly. They've been amazing. I think obviously Forest is the obvious one, although I'm not a fan of their playing style. I think Brighton is another one.
I think
because Fulham as well, especially with ESR's form. Brighton, for me, they haven't even betted in their signings at all. Yeah, so we've barely seen. I don't think he's even played his best starting 11 just yet.
Hurtzler's done good. Belieber's the next 100 mil DM.
Yeah, I said as
Maliba.
much to
Yeah,
Kez.
Maliba.
Adingra's good as well. There's Brian Gruder as well. We haven't seen much of him. I've seen him in the Carabao Cup game. He's going to be a good player for them. So with a bit more time, Brighton's definitely one to keep an eye on. But yeah, Bournemouth has been for me amazing.
That's a good shout.
Yeah.
Kez?
Yeah. I think Brighton's manager, that Hurstler, I think he's been a surprise pack for me, being so young. And I mean, we all love Brighton and we all love what they're doing and how they're playing and stuff. But
I don't love them that much. I just want to put that out there.
But like, yeah, how they run as a club and everything, like it's pretty phenomenal. But I'm pretty disappointed in West Ham and Crystal Palace.
Especially
I know
Palace.
CP.
Yeah, like I know,
Jose.
I know they lost O'Lease, and Jordan Ayew went to Leicester and stuff. But I just think like they've always sort of been challenging, and now they're not really. And West Ham under Lopetegui.
Is it fair to say that Crystal Palace's signings, especially in Nketiah, they just haven't worked out at all?
Yeah,
Nketiah hasn't looked bad. He hasn't looked bad. I do think that is sort of his level of team. I just think Palace is off as a whole.
Yeah.
And it's hard to shine in a team. Like Fulham's doing well, so ESR looks good. Palace isn't doing that crash hot, so Nketiah doesn't look that good.
Yeah.
I mean, even Reece Nelson looks good at Fulham. So I do think a lot of that comes into the team not running hot at the moment. Because, I mean, you always expect Palace to be safe. You expect them sort of that 10 to 14 region, I guess, anywhere sort of around there. 10 might be a bit high, but...
Because Palace away used to be like, you used to look at that fixture and go, oh, that's a tough fixture.
bit of a tricky game for anyone.
Now it's like 3 points.
Yeah, do you know what I've worked out? I've worked out any of the old stadiums, the rectangle stadiums, I now look at as a tricky spot. Because it just feels like the crowd's on top of the
on their heads,
literally on top of the field.
Yeah.
But when when you go to the new stadiums and the crowds are a little bit further away, it doesn't feel as
Claustrophobic.
Yeah, the atmosphere doesn't feel as crazy, you know. And this is just like we've had a lot of away games for Arsenal. Chelsea away, the atmosphere felt on top of the ground. Literally, like it just felt like you were there in the game. But some of those other away games where the crowds are a little bit further away, it doesn't feel as intense.
No.
So like you said, Palace's stadium, the fans are on there.
Yeah.
Normally, it does feel really like a real tight atmosphere.
Cauldron, yeah.
The players walk out of the corner, don't they?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it feels full on, but yeah, I don't know, just something that I've observed this year.
And I just wanted to give a special shout out. I actually have really liked the way Wolves has played.
Some
to be
hard run they've had.
Yeah, second last or third last or whatever it is that they are. I think they're pretty hard done by. And I think they've had the most VAR calls go against them. And as Veki touched on as well, Bournemouth and Iraola, like they actually, when they're going forward, they just look so free, creative. Their patterns of play are just phenomenal. How they transition, their wingers are on, like they're doing.
Semenyo's unreal.
They're doing quite well.
I want to give a special final shout out to Jamie Vardy. Still banging goals, still banging Red Bulls. I think that's a good place to end this one, boys. Anyone got anything else to add for this? No? All right.
Well, wait, you already gone through your surprises. What about is there any transfers you expected to work out but they haven't really worked out? Because you were hot shit crazy about Doku, and I'm like, dude.
Yeah, I did that actually. Yeah,
And
that
like
one.
Kez was very keen on him as well, but he just, I don't know, he seems like a
I
one-trick
think he was
pony.
good last year. But I think this year he hasn't been that great.
He's got the potential. I don't know. He's got the potential, but probably not going to get there at this point.
I
I'll take back what I said.
I haven't thought about transfers at all.
Yeah.
I genuinely haven't thought anything of it. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
It's hard to think about transfers when you're a Liverpool fan, to be honest. Though.
Yeah, I mean, it's all you guys think about because you don't get any.
Do you know what I'm looking forward to? Like during the winter season when it's like full snow and you can see it,
The yellow
and like the ball's going and like you can see the trail of the ball where it used to be.
We haven't seen proper snow in ages.
Man,
they get a lot of hail, but you don't see proper snow.
Yeah, lots of rain now too.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah.
Well, like some fixtures get like cancelled due to bad weather and stuff.
Yeah.
Just play.
Don't be soft.
No.
Don't be soft.
Just play. Oh well, that about does us for this episode. This is the Liverpool special, mostly Liverpool stuff today.
All four Liverpool supporters.
He looks so enthused about that. He's like, mostly Liverpool stuff today. Boring.
I am Liverpooled out for a while. Normally, I feel like this when we get through the Manchester United chat, but this time it's been Liverpool. I'm Liverpooled out for a while.
So
Thank
we'll have
you
an
for
Arsenal
joining
episode
us.
one day.
We will be back with a quiz later on this week. I think it's scheduled for a couple of days after, which is going to be Liverpool focused as well. So,
Oogie, stick to your diet.
yeah, that's harsh. That's hectic. That's staying in.
I don't know if we needed that, but all right.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Encouragement.
We're out.
Bye-bye.